Welcome to the Full-Time Fantasy Podcast, presented by the Fantasy Football World Championship, home to the industry's most accurate rankings.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to the Full-Time Fantasy Podcast. As always, I am your host, Adam Krautwurst, and with me tonight I have a special guest, Robbie Dinges, who is currently in second place in the Circa Las Vegas Fantasy Football World Championships over at the FFWC. So he's here to flex some muscle on that. Robbie, what is going on, my friend?
Just watching a lot of football and keeping after all the stats and fantasy and just having a great time with it. It's been a great year so far.
That's right. Living the life, loving it. You've been having a pretty good season so far, just overall, grinding. What is your what's your week to week like? I know, like for myself, with all the teams I have, like my days are already set up, and I've got my waiver times and my lineup setting times and all that type of stuff. What is your high stakes life like? Talk to me.
Yeah, well, I start obviously, spend a lot of time preparing in the draft. I think, drafting good is by far and away the best, in my opinion. My draft, to start the season off, I kind of let what I try and do is I let the first three rounds kind of play to me, and just do that. And then from the 5th round, 7th round, 10th round, 11th round, different rounds, I have certain players I kind of pick a handful of them and, kind of focus on those as maybe those round picks. And so far this year, that's worked pretty well for me. My had a couple of good ones so far, that, worked out. And then week to week, I just, obviously I got a couple of boys and my basement's kind of set up to where I got several TVs up. So Sunday we dedicate to watching all the games, Red Zone on one channel, keeping up with the stats, couple of computers out and doing all that. And then, Monday morning we kind of get up and make sure everything's set. And Tuesday morning, I usually get up in the morning and kind of start prepping for who we're going to pick up, what players are available, what everybody did that week, kind of compare it to what they've done year to date versus there, and then look at injuries and all those kind of things and kind of just put a little list together, what I think I might do. And then Wednesday, sometime through the day, I, actually sit down and go through all the teams and put on all the actual pickups and bids.
Yeah, no, nice. I usually wait. I do all that kind of research and stuff too. I usually wait to the last second because, you get out like the Brock Purdy news late today, like stuff like, oh, no, I got to go back through and do it up. So I wait as late as possible to really put those. I know some people that start it like Sunday night or Monday. I don't even know if you can do it Sunday night, but like Monday night right after the games, they're already out there doing it. And so, no, I like that for sure. And I'm looking at your second place team here overall in the Las Vegas Circa Championships. I see you got Travis Kelce on the squad. Were you, obviously not tight end premium. Were you, do you own a lot of Travis Kelce this year? We finally got like that. Kelce gives us like 1 or 2 of these, sometimes 3 of these a year, right? These massive blow up games. Were you big on Kelce this year, or did it just kind of fall to you?
No, like I said, the way I draft, I pretty much put what I believe is the top 36 guys out, and wherever they fall, I just take them. You got basically 10 champions, WC teams, and I got 5 mid-stakes teams. And I own Kelce twice. And the other Kelce I have was after the injury news. And we picked him up. I think it was 210. So yeah.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Yeah, I had a lot of. I'm in a couple 5Ks, a couple 3Ks where I got Kelce like much later than he normally goes. He only missed the 1 week, and you could plan for it too, right? Because you knew he was going to be out, so you could draft him and not start him.
Yep.
And you could draft another tight end maybe a little bit earlier than you normally would to make up for it. So, no, good for you. Nice to see you up there, the top 5. Hopefully I'll be up there with you soon here. But we got our first
long season.
That's right. It is a long season. We got our first start-sit question. Full PPR. We got Flowers. Pick one. Flowers, Godwin, Rice, Roshan, Hunt. I see Hunt is on your team here. Just without looking even at the rankings right now, and I'll look at him while you're talking. But I would lean Flowers. I just think he's Lamar's guy, and the offense finally, as you saw last week, man, that finally everything clicked, and they went nuts. Flowers is his number one. He has a higher target share than Mark Andrews there now, and he looks really good doing it. So I really like him. But I do. Roshan Johnson's burning a freaking hole in my pocket. I'll be honest with you. I really want to play him and get him out there. But what do you think about these players here?
Well, you just hit on one of my guys here. Rice was one of my guys that I picked up all the way through. I think he's got a great upside with Mahomes. I know Mahomes moves the ball around a lot, but he's kind of looking like a receiver that's, kind of moving up the board with him, and I like that. But I think, I guess the question is Lamar Jackson is this the start of a big thing, or because this year he hasn't been, it's been pretty inconsistent. I think that's his first game of the year over 300 yards, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
On the 3 touchdowns. I mean, Detroit just fell apart last week. I mean, that was
crazy.
I don't know.
I mean, I got my Gibbs jersey on because
there you go.
It was finally Gibbs week. I haven't worn this since Circa drafts in Vegas.
Yeah,
I haven't had a chance to put it on. I got to put it back on. But no, I hear you there for sure. Yeah, I'm looking. I've got Zay as Zay Flowers a top 15 receiver this week. I think he's been consistent. He's been one of the consistent things on this team here. So I think I'm comfortable doing that. And that kind of transitions us into one of our first topics here is the Ravens passing offense. I mean, like you said, it's been inconsistent, but moving forward here, I was very high on Lamar going into the year. And he's got weapons. He's had a lot of drop passes this season. New offensive coordinator might have taken him a minute to kind of get going here. And strength of schedule, rest away. Guess who's number one? Baltimore Ravens for the quarterback. He's got 5 really easy matchups rest of way, including the Dolphins shootout. And we know what he did to the Dolphins last year. Went for like 404 touchdowns. He's got them in week 17, the championship week. He's got Arizona, Seattle, Cincinnati, I mean, a lot of really good matchups coming up. So I'm a believer in Lamar. I've always been a Lamar guy. Lamar made me a lot of money in 2019, his MVP year. And so I'm a big believer in him. I'm a big believer in this pass offense and the utilization. They're finally starting to throw the ball a little bit more. As at the beginning of the year, they were still kind of that run heavy team. But what do you think about this Ravens offense as a whole?
Well, I think the biggest difference with Lamar this year is he's, last year had some injuries, some dings here and there, and I think this year he's looking to pass more. He's looking to sit in the pocket more, I mean, he's spreading the ball around a lot. I mean, I think obviously Flowers and Andrews I think are going to be big, and if OBJ can come back here. And get, back to where he can play. Yeah. I mean, I think they can definitely do it. I mean, I think last week he had his first 300-yard game with 3 touchdowns. And, if he can keep building on that, that's great. He just hasn't had the consistency this year of some of the other guys.
Yeah. I think he had 3 passing, 1 rushing. The rushing's been there. People always say, hey, these quarterbacks should stay in the pocket more. It'll keep him healthier. Quarterbacks get hurt way more in the pocket. Josh Allen, I'm a big Bills guy. Josh Allen only gets dinged up when he's outside the pocket.
Yep.
They asked, who did they ask today? Jalen Hurts today. They said, hey, about running, you worried about getting, because he had the knee brace on. He's like, I can't remember the last time I got hurt running the football. I get hurt when I'm sitting in the pocket, being crushed. Like, I'd rather get tackled by a 190-pound corner down the field than a 310-pound killer, in the pocket. So I'm fine with Lamar running. Through the first month of the season, they had a negative drop back rate over expectation. Now they're starting to, I think, get comfortable in this offense. And so I would like to see them get going there for sure.
Yeah.
So It's good. Good. Oh, and don't forget about my guy Rashad Bateman now. I mean, he has a first round pick. He's been electric. He's just always been hurt. I think he scored last week for the first time in forever. He dropped the touchdown the week before. So it'd be nice to see him. He's a guy that's been like on and off waivers. He's a guy this week. If you got a spot to spare, if you got maybe a guy that hit the IR that you can drop, Bateman. If I'm buying this passing offense, I think I'm going to buy a little bit of Bateman here too.
For sure. Yeah. Definitely has. I think he's got what 100, little over 100 yards this year. So he's, but
we need him.
Yep.
All right. Next topic here. Let's talk about Josh Downs. Let's stay in the AFC here. Josh Downs has been a guy that I was didn't love, didn't hate coming out of college. Didn't really have a I was a big Richardson guy as a quarterback fantasy wise. But I thought, hey, Richardson's going to get there on his legs. And so I was kind of off of the Colts receivers. But Downs has been awesome. I mean, he's a borderline 3 moving forward here. I mean, his comps going back to 2011 are like Brandon Cooks, Cooper Kupp, even like Sterling Shepard, if you remember him in their rookie seasons. So I think he's like a wide receiver 3 moving forward. Minshew, and ends up working out for him now because now he's got more of a pocket passer, more of a traditional passer. Minshew can still buy time with his legs. I think Minshew had like 2 rushing touchdowns last week, of course, stealing it from our guy JT. But I think I like Downs going forward. If he's available in your leagues, he's a guy I would bid very highly on going forward.
Yeah, I mean, I think you pinned it right there. I was a little light on JT this year. I've always loved him, and I think he's going to have a great comeback year. But I was concerned, with Richardson taking some of his touchdowns, and I think that was the most surprising thing to me last week was Minshew takes 2 of his touchdowns. I was like, come on, And but no, I think since the games that Minshew has been in, I think he really, really likes Downs. I mean, he's targeted him more than he's targeting him more than Pitts in some of those games.
Pittman, yeah,
on some of those games. And I'm like, it's really. I think he had his 2 touchdowns the last 2 weeks, if I'm not mistaken, and a lot of targets and a lot of catches. And I think he's going to be really good down the stretch here. Unfortunately, I was not high on him to start the year, but in watching him through the season, I've been trying to pick him up every chance I can, and I've only got him a couple of times out of all my teams. So.
Yeah, I mean, people. I don't think anyone was necessarily super high on Josh Downs. Coming out. I mean, he was on waivers all over the place to start the year. But speaking of Downs, we have another start-sit question here. Pick 2 wide receivers out of Nico Collins, Zay Flowers, Chris Godwin, and our guy Josh Downs. I love Nico Collins. That's a guy I was high on this season. He just looks like an alpha receiver. He's long, he's lean, he's fast. They're getting him the ball. He looks like the next ascension into like that alpha outside receiver in the NFL. So I do like Nico this week. Carolina is a run funnel. Like they want you to run it on them. So their pass defense is pretty good, but I still like Nico again coming out of the bye week. And I like Zay Flowers again. I have him in my top 15. Godwin and Downs is fine. You could go Downs or Nico either way. Godwin to me, I don't know. This weekend, Godwin short week, got a little banged up on Sunday, and he plays the Bills on the road. The Bills, the worst part about the Bills defense is their run defense. Ever since they lost Matt Milano, so I think their pass defense is still okay. And Evans is the guy there this year, so I'm not super high on Godwin. What do you think, Robbie?
I have 0 shares of Godwin. Evans is on a third of my teams.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, I felt like Evans was a much better value. You could get him a round or 2 later, and so I'm not a big Godwin guy this year. I would agree with you. Downs or Nico and Zay there. I think that's absolutely
for sure. Another start-sit question: tight end Jonnu Smith or Logan Thomas? Man, I'm Mr. Kyle Pitts. Not this year. I didn't have him out this year. I think it was the first person in the content industry to have a Kyle Pitts jersey. I was rocking that jersey last year all over the place. So I'm more heartbroken over Kyle Pitts than anything. Jonnu Smith running more routes, getting a ton of targets. Looks good there. I guess I was 4 years early on Jonnu Smith. I had him like 4 years ago. when he was over there in Tennessee. But I think I would go Jonnu Smith here because I just think he gets more targets. The offense kind of runs through the tight ends there. Pitts is still getting targets too. And Logan Thomas has been good, but you always have that risk of Logan Thomas leaving the game. I mean, he's always leaving games early hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And so and the offense there is just discombobulated in Washington. Like, I don't trust anybody over there. So I'm going to lean, believe it or not, I'm going to lean Jonnu Smith here.
Well, and the quarterback situation, I mean, rough game last week, but absolutely. And the other thing is Smith is going back to the revenge game to the Titans. So I am huge on him this week. Yeah. If I was playing a week to week, that'd probably be my tight end, honestly, this week. I think it's going to be going back to the Titans and
revenge week. Week over there. All right. Let's talk about the Rams running back situation, because that was like a hot topic last week with the bidding and who we're going to pick up. And listen, people who don't, I love getting on Twitter and all these analysts like, oh, don't spend any money on Zach Evans. Imagine wasting all that fab money on Zach Evans and this, that, and Henderson and everything. Like, listen, there were teams where you needed. Last year was Mageddon, injuries, bye weeks. Next guy up we thought was going to be Evans. So I put some bids in on Evans, and as the week goes, Wednesday it's like you have to make decisions quickly. The weekend's on Monday night. Now you have 2 days. They don't really practice. Like Wednesday, you're like, that's when you have to decide. It's going to be Evans or not going to be Evans. And so you put in the bids, and then you get more information. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it's going to be Henderson. It's going to be Henderson. So then, I mean, there were spots where I picked up Evans, and then I also picked up Henderson because I needed a running back. And then I started Henderson, like, and I won. Like, there were spots where, like, I needed that 13 points for my RB2. Like, do I care that I blew 200 on Evans and another like 80 on Henderson? Like, no, because I got the win. I'm still alive. And now I've got Henderson's probably the guy for 2 or 3 more weeks. Yeah. What is your thought on the Rams backfield?
Well, I think Williams doesn't come back till week 12, if I'm not mistaken. And I think I just don't know how much confidence the coaching staff has in Henderson. And that's, that's my only holdback. I was kind of the same way. When I went in for my bids that week, I was probably, I don't know, 3 to 1. I went Evans over Henderson, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So far, but I'm still, I'm not sure what's going to end up there, because I think that, depending on, I mean, obviously if Henderson plays well, it's his spot to lose.
That's right.
So yeah, you're in the driver's seat if you got Henderson, obviously. But I just don't. He fumbles one time. He has one bad game, and I just don't know what kind of confidence the coaching staff has with him right now, and that's where I think there could be a pullback if he has one bad game.
Yeah, no, there's definitely always concern there. I mean, he literally said the week before he was watching football on TV. Like, obviously he stayed in shape, but he comes from off the street to a 58% snap share, 60% of the attempts. He got high leverage touches inside the 5, scores a rushing touchdown from inshore, gets catches. Like, he had to catch to get him down to the 1 yard line. He has experience in this offense. McVay spoke glowingly of him. So I just think he's the guy for right now. But again, he could pull his hamstring next week, like all these guys, and he could be toast. But I just think in the Rams backfield, it's a valuable backfield. It's like the Miami backfield or the Niners backfield. Like, they just plug guys in. And they go. I was a big Kyron. I'm not a big Kyron guy, but I was drafting a lot of him just because I was kind of reading the tea leaves. Like, I think Kyron's going to be the guy there. So I need Kyron to come back and be the guy. So I don't want Henderson to do too well, but I think he's the guy there for now. Royce Freeman, I mean, he's just a plotter. Like, he's not going to get any of the pass down work. Yeah. So to me, I think Henderson's the guy. And it's funny, he goes from like savior last week to like all the teams off a bye now. Okay, now I've got my Breece Hall I can put back in there. I've got Roshan Johnson's healthy. I'd probably start Roshan. I guess that's a question. Would you start Roshan Johnson or Darrell Henderson this week? Wow.
Well, being a Cowboys fan, it's tough for me to start anybody against my Cowboys. But I just think wow. I mean, that's a real tough call there.
That's where you're at. Like that's kind of the spot where these running backs end up going there is like, you get these RB2s, and Roschon finally practiced today, but Foreman looked really good last week too. So it's like, is Foreman just going to go take a seat? So.
But Chargers are last against the pass. They saw what Foreman did last week. I got to believe the Chargers are going to make some adjustments to not allow them to run against them is my guess. I don't know.
I mean, did the Chargers ever make adjustments? This stinking team. I mean, what a joke they are.
Yeah.
I mean, Herbert.
You would think.
They're so disappointing every year, man. They've got it all, and then it just doesn't work out. It doesn't work out for them.
No, for sure.
Crazy.
Well, you could be a Cowboys fan. We'll go 10-7 and lose the first round of the playoffs. I mean, I can already. Anyone want to bet me? That's what's going to happen.
Listen,
I don't know.
I'm a Bills fan, so I don't feel bad for anybody. Okay, I feel bad for nobody. 13 freaking seconds. Come on, unbelievable. All right, moving on to a guy that's been exciting. Another West Coast guy, a guy that's kind of popped up. I have him a little bit on some teams. Wasn't really targeting him at all, but Jacoby Myers is a guy that's really popped. Who would have thought with Devontae Adams and Josh Jacobs and not a great quarterback that there would be room for Jacoby Myers to have a top 15 season right now for the Raiders? What are your thoughts? I mean, the guy's a target monster, 28% target share, which makes 13th in the NFL, and he missed a game, right? I mean, he's been a wide receiver one.
Well, obviously had the concussion and came back from the concussion the last 5 weeks. I think he's within like 8 targets of Adams. And I'm like, I would have never, ever guessed that. I got to be honest with you. I thought Adams would have dominated that offense this year. And Jacoby Myers, he got touchdowns in the last couple of games and he's looking great. And that's another thing. After he took that hit and that, oh my gosh, that concussion. I mean,
I know.
I was like, is he going to come back solid? And he's come back stronger than ever.
I know. So do you think this is something that obviously, excuse me, Myers is locked into starting lineups right now, but is this something that we think, Devontae has been whining about not getting targets. And I thought I started Adams everywhere in like DFS last week. I'm like, okay, this is the week because he's squeaky wheel. It didn't really get going again last week. It's just something
he did have a lot of targets though.
He did.
Had a ton of targets last week. Yeah.
Is this something you think Myers can keep up? You think it's like a funnel situation where it's going to be Myers and Adams the rest of the? I mean, Jacoby, or I'm sorry, the Josh Jacobs has been terrible. He's averaging like 2.9 yards a carry. Like he's just worn down from that season he had last year, like 400 touches last year. Like that's what happened. So, what do you think about Myers going forward?
Yeah, I love him. I mean, I think he's going to be solid all the way through. He's proven it. Every game he's been in this year, except the one, he's been solid. So been consistent. He's, they keep going to him and he keeps catching it. So
I know. Crazy. Rest of way, random off the top of my head. Rest of way, Jacoby Myers or Puka Nacua.
I know this is kind of a crazy statement because everyone's on Puka, but I mean,
sounds like a drug. Everyone's on Puka.
I think the Rams are going to start using Kupp more, and I think Jacoby stays. It's going to be a close race. I think a lot closer than people think.
I think if you got them both, you're probably doing really, really well in
Absolutely.
fantasy football this year. If you've got them both, I like them both. Puka, I love Puka's energy. I love everything about him. He's he's learning from the best over there with Cooper Kupp. So, I think it's probably a coin flip. I like it's the same thing too. Like the Rams are a funnel. It's Cooper Kupp or Puka Nacua. Those are the two guys. I mean, Higbee's nothing. Tutu Atwell gets that kind of lucky jump ball touchdown that may or may not have been meant for him. Like it's just these two studs, and that's it. And I freaking love that. I love that funnel offense.
Yeah.
Something that I don't love. I don't love the Browns running backs right now. I don't love the situation there. Nick Chubb goes down, I think week 2, and so the Browns running backs, Kareem Hunt ends up back there, which is just gross because Kareem Hunt just like isn't good. You watch him, and he's just slow. and like not impressive at all. But now we've got Jerome Ford with a low ankle sprain. And now he's out. They're saying they're not going to put him on IR, but the Rams also said they probably weren't going to put Kyron Williams on IR. So we'll see. But what do you think about the backfield there? Are you team Kareem Hunt? I know you've got him on this. I was just talking so badly about a guy that you have on your second place team. Pierre Strong is kind of the athlete there, the spark score guy there. Do you think they add somebody? What do you think there in Cleveland?
Well, as you said, right now they're saying that they're hoping, I believe, last I checked, that Ford's back in 3 weeks.
Right.
So we may only be talking about a couple of weeks here, but then again, who knows? They were kind of the same way at Williams right out of the chute, but of course, Hunt, he left dinged. He was in and out. He got dinged a little. On this last one. So, and Strong, we haven't seen really enough of him with the Patriots. I mean, he didn't get a lot of share, and so who knows? I mean, and there you go. That's I just wonder. Fournette's still sitting out there. Is he just out of shape? Is he just what? I mean, you look at him. You look at the Cardinals. You look at a couple of these teams, and I'm like, I know, why is nobody like running to sign the guy? Is he just? I don't know. I know.
Did Fournette tweet out like Sunday, like this week I'm going to announce what team I'm playing for or something? I feel like he's been right there. No, I completely agree. Like if he doesn't sign with the team at this point, because now the trade deadline's coming up. If you need a running back, you can go get Derrick Henry for a 4th round pick. Why am I going to go sign Leonard Fournette? You know what I mean? Like you can get a real running back. So,
or what about? I heard Cook. I know he's not having a great year, but Jets I heard they may, let him go.
Yeah. Yeah. There's all different. Yeah.
Obviously it's not a good mix there with the Jets with him. And, I'm a buddy of mine and Nathaniel Hackett's, I know him. He lives here. So, cause he was a Denver coach last year.
Yeah.
And, but it seems to me like he's going to be on the trading block here in a minute. And I would think he's got some miles on him still, but I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, I think they wanted him to hold I think Aaron Rodgers wanted him, and then Aaron Rodgers gets hurt. Now the season's like in the tank, kind of, and then they wanted him. Oh, we'll hold this over till Breece Hall. Breece Hall is good to go now. Breece Hall looks like the best running back in football next to Christian McCaffrey, and so but the running back situations are weird. Kareem Hunt's he's been a top 15 running back. The first 2 weeks he's played this season. Now he might even have an expanded role in this offense. So I think if I've got Hunt, I'm excited because I can throw him in there and he'll probably get most of the work, but I think there's room for Pierre Strong. I'm looking to add Pierre Strong on waivers this week. I know he's available almost everywhere I'm looking. And so there's desperate teams and stuff like that. So I'll probably put in a little cheap bid on Strong and maybe see if I can get him in a couple different spots that I need running backs, but it's still ugly. I think like Ford's the guy when he comes back. It was not a high ankle sprain. So hopefully he's back soon because I think he's the best running back there.
Yeah, I mean, I put some bids in on Strong as well. But like I said, it may only be for 2 weeks at best.
Right.
And, we've never seen him, with any.
He's almost like Evans for the Rams. Like he's this like athletic freak that the coaches just don't like. Yeah, but he's not very good at football. Like we never want to play him.
Right.
So. I don't know. We'll see.
Collector in the garage, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, that's right. Put him in the garage. There's some players in the Bills offense that I'd like to put in the garage. Most of them, actually, outside of Allen and Diggs. Man, this Bills offense still ranks top 5 in the NFL. Josh Allen's QB1 again for like the 4th or 5th straight year. Like he's still getting there. But Diggs is sensational. I think he's top 3 receiver fantasy wise, but everything after that's been pretty gross. James Cook has been hit and miss. Last week had a 19-point performance, had a receiving touchdown, but their running game is inconsistent. They're starting games off. The first half has just been putrid. As of late, the last 3 games, they can't get Jacksonville, the Giants, the Patriots. They could get nothing done in the first half at all. And then the last 2 games, they end up getting the lead on the last drive of the game. But it's just there's something wrong in this offense. I think it's going to be a very good thing for the offense that Knox is out and then they can just let Kincaid eat. Kincaid 8 catches for 80-something yards last week. Knox is just terrible. I mean, he drops every pass that matters. Kincaid is so much better from a fantasy and an offensive skill position standpoint. So we'll see. Short week this week. I think Allen's just going to say, forget it and just run and get back to the old Allen ways of just slinging it all over the field. But what's your vibe? I'm too invested in this Bills team up here in Western New York. What's your vibe on the Bills offense?
Well, I think Diggs, if I'm not mistaken, I believe he's second in fantasy right now.
Top 3, I think. Yeah,
behind Hill, who, by the way, was my lucky year for me, but that was my largest first round guy this year was Hill.
Nice.
And it was just by accident, not by anything I did. But but no, as a matter of fact, I'm sitting 24th overall in the World Championship with I've got Allen and Diggs on that particular team.
There you go.
Didn't love my draft because I got Diggs first. And then I just couldn't. I did not want to miss on Allen, so I took Allen in the 3rd round. Which I never take quarterback. I mean, that's just like kind of one of my
pet peeves. Yeah.
No, just you don't do it.
Do not do it.
Yeah, I get it, but it's working out for me because I'm sitting in 24th place. So, which is pretty cool. But no, I predict that I think Kincaid's going to be the number 2 for the rest of the way out. I think he's going to be the number 2 guy there. That's what I think. I could be way out of kilter here, but I think he might be the number 2 guy. I think give him a little confidence. I see that I wanted the Cowboys to take him. I thought that was when the Bills moved up to take him in the draft. I thought that was one of the best moves of the draft. And I think he could be the number 2 guy there this year. And then my other thought is what if the Cook brothers, maybe they go get Dalvin and bring him in, and maybe it's a good fit for him there. And they rally off each other, the brothers there. I don't know. I think the Bills need to go get a running back, is what I think.
I think the Bills need to go get speed, and they need to go get they could go get Hunter Renfrow. There's whispers about that. He's the Cole Beasley, better than Cole Beasley. I don't know why that hasn't happened already.
Davis has been quiet this year.
He stink. I'm telling you, the guy. If you go look at all the analytics, he doesn't get separation. He doesn't get open.
Yeah,
he's gonna be gone. He's losing a ton of money this year just because he's not. People are saying he's not that good.
Yeah,
but I would love for Kincaid to be our number 2 there. Again, it's a rookie tight end. Like rookie tight ends normally don't even do anything.
I know
the first year, and now we've got the kid for the Lions who's lighting it up. Like Mayer's had spots. Like all these different rookies are kind of. Kyle Pitts 2 years ago popped off. But Kincaid, I think you're right. I think Kincaid should be the number 2 guy there going forward. So I think that would open up their offense for sure. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, listen, people they play these cover 2 shells, right? They do it to Mahomes, they do it to all the best quarterbacks to force you to dink and dunk. But if you're going to dink and dunk, you got to have guys that can run after catch, and that's Kincaid. It's not, so. I would love that. I have a lot of Dalton Kincaid. I actually was telling people 2 weeks ago to drop Kincaid because they're not using him. Not unless you're tight end premium, you're not keeping 2 or 3 tight ends, so you can drop him. Well, now if he's available, pick him back up because Dawson Knox is going to be out for a while. He had wrist surgery, so he might be done for the year. So we'll see. But I think again, the offense is still. People are panicking. They're still a top 5 offense. Allen's still a QB.
Oh yeah. Well, I think they're second in touchdowns this year as an offense. I think they're 5th in yards and 2nd in touchdowns, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I mean, Allen's number 1 in the NFL in touchdowns. It's just they have games where they blow out Miami by 30, and then they can't score against New England. It's like, what the heck are we doing here?
Yeah.
Anyways, back to another offense that's actually struggling is the Packers. Man, the Packers offense has just been gross. It's been really banged up. Jordan Love his accuracy has been hit and miss to say the least. Aaron Jones had a sensational week 1, hasn't been right since. I mean, even last week, like they need that game. It's a close game in the end, and still it's AJ Dillon, So I mean, Jones was limited in practice all week, played only 34% of the snaps. Hopefully, moving forward, that's something. Christian Watson gets banged up in the game, but he was practicing today, so I think he'll be okay. But What's your feeling on this Packers offense? Is Jordan Love just not the answer?
For me, it's kind of funny. I think they miss Aaron Jones. Yeah. I really think, Aaron Jones went in the game last week, and they said coming in he was going to be on a pitch count because of his hamstring injury. Like you said, he had that great first week, hamstring. He's coming into this, and they said he was going to be on a pitch count. And I think they miss him. And that's what a couple years ago when they said, pay Aaron Jones, you got to pay that guy, you got to pay him, and they brought him back. I think the offense rolls around him. And I think if he can get back healthy and get going, I think you'll see a whole different team. But if that doesn't happen, I think they're going to finish in the bottom 5-6 teams in the NFL.
Yeah. No,
that's what I think.
They
got some great receivers.
Yeah.
But,
Dobbs and again, Christian Watson. I think Christian Watson is a sensational receiver, but again, banged up, an offense that's not clicking, a quarterback that might not be that good. Watson has 20% targets per route run. I still think he'll be fine if he's healthy this week. I still think he'll be fine. I thought last week, that was Denver. Everybody kills Denver. Like how did the Packers not? How does Watson not go for 200 yards against Denver? So that's the frustrating part, is you're licking your chops at that matchup, and then it just doesn't happen. So that's the part that stinks. But I think Love, Love's got to get going. And did they already have their bye? Did they come out of the bye? I think. I don't even know. I can look it up here.
I'm not sure.
But I think they already had their bye week.
Oh yeah, they did have their bye. Yeah, because Aaron Jones came back after their bye week.
That's right. So they already had their bye. Like they
already had their bye week,
right? Mm-hmm. Good news is their schedule is pretty easy here for at least for quarterbacks coming up. Yep. Minnesota, the Rams, Pittsburgh, and then the Chargers and the Lions, which are really good there. So that's good. Not that people are really relying on Love, but let me see what the running back looks like for strength of schedule here. Coming up, we've got the Packers are bottom, the third from the bottom in strength. They only have one good matchup the rest of the season. That's Carolina in the semifinals. So if you can somehow get to the semifinals with Aaron Jones, roll him out. But they've got Minnesota, the Rams, they got Detroit, Kansas City, Tampa. So it's gonna be tough. But Aaron Jones can get there and catches too. Like that's where he's explosive, is those catches.
Yeah.
I mean, we were talking before the show about like bad beats in the last week. I came in top 5 in the FFPC main event 3 years ago, and I was 3rd or 4th going into one of the last drives, and Aaron Jones pops off like a 46-yard touchdown, and it drops me down by 0.2 points. Like if it was a 40-yard touchdown, I win another $10,000 or something, but it had to be 46, and the game was over. So I'll always hate Aaron Jones for the rest of my life. But that's what high stakes fantasy does to us for sure.
Yeah, no, and that's Scott called and we were talking about me coming on the show and stuff. I'm like, Scott, this is a long year. I mean, we're big deal that I'm in second place now. Let's see where I am. I've been 3 different times in the top 10 in the World Championship for full-time fantasy in the last couple of years here, halfway through the playoffs.
Yeah.
And only one time I finished in the top 20.
Yeah.
So, a couple of years ago, I was sitting in 4th place, just feeling great about things. The Giants stopped giving the ball to Schwan. I don't know if you remember the game. He had 20 fantasy points in the first half. He touched the ball twice in the second half. My quarterback went down, on and on. And I ended up, 18th or something that year or something like that. But I was in 4th place looking like, with projections and stuff, moving into first place after the second week of the playoffs. And,
and
after the game, I'm like, wow, whole team scored like 5 points in the second half. It's like, what happened here?
I know. It's amazing how that stuff works. That's why everyone's just continue to grind, continue to work waivers, continue to set those lineups and put all the effort in, especially when you go to like the teams, you're going to like the next team, like, oh man, it says your ranking there's like 10th. You're like, oh God, I'm 10th. And you click on it, like, oh, wait a minute. Like, I'm really not 10th. Like I'm 35 points out of a playoff spot. Like, okay, well, this team's still live. It's still good. Like, that's something. That's what I like about the record points is that you can get completely screwed every week and still make the playoffs.
Well, it's funny in that league that I'm going against Jack right now. I'm in 6th place. He's in 1st place, record wise.
Yeah.
I got 41 more points than him so far. And I'm like, how am I in 6th place and you're in 1st place? That's not, but it is what it is,
Jack's got a horseshoe. He's got a horseshoe somewhere. Speaking of horseshoes, let's talk about the Colts backfield real quick. What are your thoughts on JT and Moss and the offense going forward? Jonathan Taylor's playing time was trending in the right direction. Snap shares of 16%, 43%, 49%. It's led to 7, 14, and 22 opportunities, 27% targets per route run. Do you think this is something that's just like trending, like JT's eventually going to take over? They're kind of easing him in as their big money guy, or do you think Moss is going to kind of hang around?
In my opinion, I think JT takes it over. I think he's going to be one of the top running backs here on out. I think he gets back to form. I do.
Yeah, no, I agree as well. Yeah, I think he's scored. I think on a receive. He had maybe a receiving touchdown over the weekend. Looks good, looks fine. I think like they're just easing him back as their big investment. I mean, Zach Moss was in Buffalo. Like the way I'm looking, Zach Moss is lighting it up in Indy. And I'm like, man, wait till JT gets back because Zach Moss stinks. Yeah, like wait till JT gets back. He's going to be doing all this stuff. Now, I don't think Moss is going anywhere. We don't need Moss to disappear. Right? No. We don't want JT to have McCaffrey work. McCaffrey shouldn't even have McCaffrey work. I mean, that's crazy. That's crazy what they're doing to Christian McCaffrey. But if JT can get 65%, 70% of the carries, 5 targets a game, I think he'll be just fine.
I agree.
Schedule moving forward as New Orleans, which is a tough matchup this week, but then he gets Carolina, which is beautiful, New England, which is nice, bye week, and then coming out of the bye week, hopefully he can carry you to he's got a nice late bye. I mean, it's good because he had an early bye for 4 weeks, and then he's got a nice late bye to juice him up for that fantasy playoff run against the Raiders in the championship week. So
and the ankle surgery he had last year wasn't a giant. I think it was an outpatient thing. I mean, what I mean? And he took all the time he needed off. He's getting back into the offense. He's getting used to Minshew and the whole thing. I think Minshew's going to start leaning on him a little bit. I think he's going to be a top back, and I don't
even think he was like necessarily injured. Like I think that whole thing was a contract thing. That wasn't he wasn't really hurt. Yeah. But hey, listen, if you were able to have him and get him late, like, obviously I had him in one high stakes league early in the second. Like I took him in the second round before all the contract stuff. That team's actually in really good shape, believe it or not. But there were some teams where, after the contract and all that, I got him in a 5K in the 8th round. Yeah. And so now that team looks good. And now I'm adding JT to it. I mean, that's the type of stuff you were able to do with guys like JT and Cooper Kupp and all of that type of stuff. So if you could have held on with those guys, now you're adding them. That's a really fun thing to kind of go look at when you're setting your lineup. So.
Yeah, I took him early on in a slow draft in the 2nd round.
That's exactly right. And
then later on, I got him in the 8th round. I'm like, I'm not if he plays half the year, I'll take JT in the 8th round. I'm sorry.
If you think he's not going to play at all, which I don't ever think that, like, okay, fine. But like, man, he's like a golden ticket. If you can hang on and then get JT for the run, I think that'll be pretty cool. But, all right, Robbie. Well, listen, thanks for hanging out today, man. This was
absolutely
a lot of fun. I know we played each other recently. We're playing each other coming up here. We got some matchups.
You can go ahead and say you beat me by 50 points. I was 3rd in scoring for the week with 157, and somehow he still beats me by 60 points. I don't know.
Listen, I needed it, and I still have a losing record. Unbelievable. But it's a lot, like we said before the show, it's a long fantasy season.
For sure.
But hey, good luck this year. Good luck in the Circa Las Vegas Championship. Hopefully you can stay in the top 5 there, make a run for it.
For sure.
And we'll have you on at the end of the year to talk about how you did.
Let's hope so. Thanks for having me on, and I hope to see you in Vegas next year for sure.
Yeah, listen, you already know I'll be there. So thanks everyone for tuning in, and thanks for your questions, and we will see you next week.